You might sell 10 things of tea, therefore you've wasted the money. Yeah, it's applicable to every. Now, if it was Rolls-Royce, you're right. If they sold 10 Rolls-Royce a year to that market, they'd be very happy. If it's tea or something else, they wouldn't. So if the question comes up, hint, and it will, about can you over-segment? The answer is yes. Every time you segment it down, it costs you money and time. Every time you segment it down, you get a smaller market share, which means you make less money. That's the easy answer to that question. Now, can you say no? You cannot over-segment. Yeah, you can. You can answer that question no. It's much harder to explain. But here's my question for you. When you go on Amazon.com and you go to order something, you know what it does? It comes up and it tells you, people like you have ordered these things. Amazon and Google segment the market down to you and everybody that might be just similar to you with all of their algorithms. How many of you have Gmail? Probably everybody. How many of you have Facebook? Do you realize that both Facebook and Gmail and even Yahoo read every word you write? I want you to think about that one for a second. Now think about some of the things that you've written in your emails. That could be kind of embarrassing, couldn't it? And Facebook, oh, very embarrassing. If you don't realize this, the next time you go on Gmail or in Facebook, because Facebook now has the ads, just as a test, write an email to yourself. Address it to yourself, put it in there, and then write something like, man, I really need to go on a long cruise and a vacation in the Bahamas, and I would love to just get away, maybe go scuba diving and snorkeling, and send it. And then give it 30 seconds and look at the ads on the right-hand column of Gmail.
If you're searching for a room in a hotel, immediately.
Boom, right there. If you send that email, it'll actually also be boom, flights to the Bahamas, cruise in the Bahamas, go scuba diving in the Bahamas. So at Google and at Facebook, they believe, and Amazon, no, you can segment it down to the person.
Yeah.
But it's harder to answer that question. Okay? So there is no right or wrong answer with that one. You just have to support it. In the terms and conditions of service on Google and Facebook, all that whole stuff you had to read, and you scroll down to the bottom and click I accept. In that it says they have the right to use your personal information for their search engines.
Okay, personal information that I provide, not within.
As long as what it says in the terms and conditions is they can't share it with anybody, but they can use it for themselves.
You can
So-
use your pictures for advertising or not.
You are allowed
Yeah.
to use it.
That's what's terrifying about it, is because most people don't realize it. And it becomes the issue of right now using their analytics and their algorithms, they can predict pretty much who you are. There's a really terrifying study that was just done, not even about you. It says that Google can look at your, on Facebook, it can look at your friends' posts about you and tell you where you are within 2 hours of you being there. So they can analyze all of your friends' information. So you normally are in contact during these times and all of a sudden you're not in contact. They can tell you went to the grocery store. They can tell you went to go pick up your kids from school. By not looking at you, but by looking at what your friends are posting. Terrifying. Okay? Very scary. So, here's the thing also. So with segmentation, 1, it's really expensive. 2, we get confused. If I have too many choices, my brain shuts down and I walk away. Think about the last time you went in to buy a mobile phone. You went into a mobile phone shop, and they've got 45 different kinds of phones in front of you. And the difference is a little bit in price, and this one has a 5 megapixel camera, this one has a 3 megapixel camera. This one's got a dual SIM, this one's got a single SIM. And they got 45 of these in front of you. What do? Unless you love technology. Your brain starts going, and you go, pretty colors, I'll take this one.
I did this.
See? Guys, we do the same thing. You go into a car dealership, and there's the BMW i5. Then there's the i5/M4. and the i5/CHK, and the i5 with this brake package. You get in the car and you're like, I want that one. Because our brains cannot handle too much information. Not all segments need to be distinguished, and we need to offer value. If the segments get too small, we lose our profit. So we just talked about. Okay? Now, here's a good example of segmentation. And it's the example you can use. Hotels. Marriott International. They're hotels, so what is their main objective? What do they want? They want people in the rooms. Now, you have different kinds of travelers. You have people like me. I'm a business traveler. Do I want to stay right next to a family of 8 with screaming kids? No. If you're on vacation, you and your husband, do you want to be right next to the business travelers? No. So you want separate things. So what Marriott has done is they came up with 4 different styles of hotels. The suites. This is permanent vacationers. These are people that are out to party. And all they do at that hotel is these are people on vacation. How many of you have ever gone to Disneyland or Disney World or any of those places? The hotels around those locations are full of people who want to go where? To Disneyland or Disney World. You're around other people who are similar to you. Okay? Fairfield Inn. That's where the cheap people go and stay. They got no money. It's still a Marriott, but it's cheap. Residence Inn. This is for people who want to stay somewhere for 3-4 weeks, a month. And last, Courtyard, which is primarily for business travelers. Each one of these groups have different needs, wants, demands. So by breaking it into smaller parts, what have we done? We've made more money! Yay! Okay? Now, that's just segmentation. Now, we need to focus our markets and target them. So, when was the last time you turned on the television and you saw a wonderful commercial for Rolls-Royce? You never have. Why not? Because if you can afford a Rolls-Royce, you already know about a Rolls-Royce. If you can't afford a Rolls-Royce, you don't need to know about it. So they don't advertise. The same thing for Harrods. Okay? They target a specific group, and that is the premium segment of the market. When was the last time you saw a commercial for a Ferrari? Never. Lamborghini? Never. Nissan Tita? Every day. Okay? So, here's what we kind of look at. Now, this is the portfolio matrix of GE. This comes up as a MCQ question. Normally, I threw it out because it's not a member of the essays, but you need to kind of understand how to read it. Okay? What this says is GE has a strategy, and they say there's 3 levels of business. We got the bright green business here, which you'll notice is strong. It's attractive. So we got medium strength here. We want to spend money on them. We have the guys here in red. Guess what? We get rid of those companies. We don't want them. And then we have the groups that are kind of here in the middle that can either move up to green or can move down to red. That's how we read this matrix. That's all we need about it, okay? Everybody loves putting it in master's level classes. It's confusing and a waste of time. All right, I just want, because there's an MCQ question I know from this, I want to make sure that we've gone over it. Targeting. We want to look at the size and growth. We want to look at if we want to get into a market. A lot of times we can see markets where there's business and there's potential. I'll give you a perfect example. Customer service does not exist in the Middle East. It does not. Now, in a place like this hotel, you get good customer service. But if you go to a regular restaurant, forget about it. You go to the grocery store, it's non-existent. Great story. I'm in Lulu's hypermarket. You guys have Lulu's here? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm in Lulu's hypermarket in Dubai. I was in the store for 47 minutes. And at no point in time did a single person who worked there speak to me. This includes the cashier at the end to get money. And I was asking people for help. I was looking for something. Do you know where this is? Mm-hmm. Hey, do you know where I can find this? Mm-hmm. 47 minutes. I get to the cashier. Boop, 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 boop. And I look at, yeah? Do you speak English? Do you speak anything? Here's my money. Do you think I will ever go back to Lulu's Hypermarket?
But they don't do this here.
Carrefour?
Carrefour pisses me off just as much. Carrefour, they're rude to me. So either one, I hate both of them. I use the local markets.
So
in
no
Dubai.
grocery goods after that.
Oh, it's horrible for me.
Come back if there is special discount.
Or because you don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice, and you would go back.
Well, if you don't have a choice, you got to go back. But it's still one of those. If you want a great business in the Middle East, teach any of the service industries customer service, simple customer service. You know, first rule. I used to be a waiter when I was in university. I loved being a waiter because it was about service. You would come into my store and I would greet you first thing with a smile. Hello, miss. How are you? Can I help you? Oh, you want to sit here, right here? Hi, my name is Will Jones. I'm your waiter today. So if you need anything, I need you to say, hey, Will. Okay? Can you do that for me? Can you say it just so I make sure I can hear you?
Hey, Will.
All right. Perfect. I told her my name 3 times in the first minute. Guess what that does to my tips? They go up. I treat you with a smile. Guess what happens to my tips? They go up. You come in the first time. If it's you with a guy, first thing I do with the lady, I look them right in the eye. Because women want to be treated as equals. And in this culture and in this area, almost always, who does the waiter look to? The man. So if you're the first one in the door, hello miss, how are you? Can I help you? Sir, yes, can I help you? If it looks like you're on a date, I ask, hey, are you on a date? Are you a couple? Hey, great! Let me bring you an appetizer for free. I give you an appetizer for free, what do you think? Wow! You have money in your pocket. Guess what comes at the end? Hey, how's your meal? Is it really good? Would you like some dessert? Well, I just gave you an appetizer. You just saved money from that, so you're like, yeah, you know what, I got a little bit of money, I'll get dessert. What costs more, appetizers or dessert? You spend more money, guess what happens to my tip? It goes up. I would take notes about you. If you're a regular customer, we chat. Oh, it's your birthday today. Happy birthday. We're walking away. Birthday on this day. Next time I see you, you come in. Hey, happy birthday. How do you feel at your favorite restaurant when they recognize you? What happens to my tips? Up. You tell me about your job. Dentist. Cool. Hey, how was work today? You're a dentist, right? What's it make you think? That the waiter cares, the waiter's remembering who you are. What happens to my tips? Go up. And now, in this day and age with the smartphone, forget about it. Hey, will you take a selfie with me? Now, as I walk away, I write down your name and your date of birth, your anniversary, your favorite color, your dog. I see you come walking in. Oh, Miss Samantha, how's your dog Rover? What happens to my tips? They go up and up and up and up. I used to get 40 to 50% of whatever the bill was.
No, your tips is more than the bill, I think.
Actually, sometimes the most I was ever tipped was 100%. I used to work. It was at a steakhouse, and it was quality meat. I once had somebody come in and spend $250 on a meal, and leave me $250. And it was, I could be having the worst day in the world. Hi, how are you? And you're sitting there. In America, one of the other things is your drinks get free refills, except for alcohol. Tell me when you're sitting at a restaurant, you're thirsty, you finished your drink. Do the waiters here even notice? Do they even care? No. I'd be walking through, I'd see it's empty. I'd grab it, come back. By the way, here's your iced tea, sir. Thank you. Not even my table. What happens to my tips? They go up. Think about your other teachers that you guys have had these classes with. Have any of them shown you video? No. Have any of them been as full of energy as I am? Some of them. But anybody like me? No. Guess what happens to my tips? I don't get tips. Damn it. Okay? But, so what happens is we need to focus on these things. So, Prophet Cobbler. He says we need to look on, there's 5 ways of looking at this. Now, this isn't on the exam, so guess what? I'm going to skip it. Positioning. So we have segmentation, how we segment. Targeting. Who do we look for in each instance to get it? And then we have positioning. We're positioning our brand. All right? We're doing branding. How does our position affect everything? So, when you think about a specific brand, it sticks in your mind. I want to use them. They're better than this group. So if I say Audi, BMW, Mercedes, which one is the best?
Mercedes. Mercedes.
Personally, as a driver, I think Audi is the best. But Mercedes usually outsells them if you have the choice. And BMW comes in last because that's what happens with the branding. Okay? What we want to know about the positioning is, what is our product worth? Is it worth this price to get the product? Okay? And our positioning comes down to these 4 questions. Hey, what are those 4 questions? What are the answers to those 4 questions? The first one, what product can we offer to better satisfy needs? Product. What can we ask from our customers in return? Price. Where should we distribute it? Place. How can we explain and communicate it? Promotion. This is just the 4 P's. So here's a good example. It's finger licking good. KFC. Now I want you to think about what that phrase means. It's so tasty that you might even lick the plate. Finger licking good. And they're focusing on the enjoyableness of the taste. And if you see their commercials, you got the big bucket of chicken, and what do you have around that big bucket of chicken in their commercials? A family. Mom and dad and kids. And what are they doing in that commercial?
Soccer players also
Smiling.
do.
Yeah, I've seen the soccer players, but that's because they're trying to get a younger market. Okay? Adidas. Nothing is impossible is nothing. They want to tie into the idea of motivated people and people who don't just buy Nike. Is it lunchtime? We got like 2 slides. Okay? So, in order to do our positioning strategy, we need to identify a competitive advantage, select the right one, and communicate it. And guess what? Oh, this. This is the same thing that answers the question. With that, we're done for lunch. Okay? What time do we need to be back?
6 o'clock.
No. 2 o'clock? What time's it right now? 1:15? 1:30. All right, let's make it 2:15 to be back. 2:30 is pushing it. I'm going to start at 2:15.